In this class, we'll talk about imaging. There are three popular formats for images. The first one is GIF. We can say GIF only includes 256 colors or less, so mostly we use GIF format for logos or illustrations. GIF can support transparent, like this image. We can say we have those areas transparent. And also GIF supports animation, like say this image. If you run it, you can see it can have some animation. But if we use GIF for pictures, we don't have high quality. The second format is JPEG. When you use camera to take pictures, mostly we have JPEG format. It can use thousands of colors, but it cannot support transparent areas. The third one is kind of new. It's called PNG. It can use millions of colors, also can support transparency. So it's pretty good, you can say this way. So how can we use imaging for our web page? We need to use a new tag. It's IMG tag. Image tag is the empty tag. It means we don't need to close the tag. We use the slash, just use one tag, but use slash inside the start tag. Inside the image tag, we need to assign the source. It means where is the image? Mostly we use the name of the image file, or we can use the name. Also, like say, if we upload the image online, we can use the address of the image online. We also can assign the width and height for the image. Sometimes, if we have some mistake, for example, we forget to upload the image, or we use the wrong name. In that case, if HTML couldn't find the image, it will display this message. So that's why we use alt. It means if HTML failed to find the image, it will display this message, the same thing. So let's look at an example. Again, just copy the example to Notepad++. Don't forget to save it. You can save as if you don't want to, like say you want to save in a new name. It's HTML. Don't forget the extension name. And let's run it. In this example, let's compare the code. First, we have title image is here. Then we have in the body section, first we have a paragraph. This image is we insert the image. We also control the width and the height. You can say the width is 400. The height is 157. And the second example, this image, the same image, but we don't control the width and the height. So the HTML will use the original size. So this is pretty much the original size of the image. In this example, like say, you can say the extension name is JPG. Suppose I have mistake and E here. It means HTML couldn't find the image. Then what will happen? Just here. Just this is the image. This is the example. It means if HTML couldn't find the image because I use the wrong name, so HTML will display this message, just the sunset. The last example is I use you can say I use a link. I will talk about this next slides. So that's about how we use the image, and also we can control the width, the height, also the alt. As we have learned, we can use link. Like say when user click the go to page 1, then the website, the HTML will go to the page, will call other HTML file. We also can use the same thing for, like we can use the image for a link. Just say instead the text, we use image. So we have an anchor, the edges, and we close it. And inside the anchor, here, we insert an image tag. We have the source, we have the width, we have the alt. So just like this example, you can say in this example, here we have the anchor. Anchor refer to a link, Facebook. Actually, Facebook is not a good example because I cannot get access to Facebook now. I just give a different I use the different edges, but it's the same thing. Here is the anchor. Here I close it. In the middle, I use the image tag. Here is the source, means where I found the image, and the width, the height, and the alt. So let's see the example. First, don't forget we need to save it just in this way. Actually, this just the code, because we want to display this image. If we click this image, we can go to this web address we're supposed to go to. So let's check the internet connection. Yeah, it looks like, look at the code. So because I use HTTPS, if you have learned this, that means we use a different address. So that may be a problem. So let's redo it and run it. Here we connect the image. You can say we have note say it will go to that web address. Okay. So that's how we can use image for a link. Actually, it's the same logic. Before we use the text, but we also can use image as link. Sometimes we want to align image. When either way is we wrap image within a paragraph. We have learned how to align paragraph. Use text align. We can use center, use left, use right. So if we put the image inside the paragraph, then when we align the paragraph, at the same time we align the image. So let's say example. Copy again in Notepad++, post it, and don't forget to save it. And let's run it. Twitter, we cannot access Twitter, but it's okay. So you can say we have 4 images, and this image is Facebook in the center, YouTube in the left, Google in the right. So how can we do that? If we look at the code, we can say we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 paragraphs. For the first paragraph, we align in the center. The second in the left is YouTube. The third is right, Google. Last in the center again is Twitter. Then we have this is paragraph. Then here we have a link. Remember this link? If we look at the code totally, paragraph we start and close it. The second tag is anchor. We have a link to Facebook, and in the link we use the image. Here is the address of the image. It's just the Facebook. We control the width. We control actually it's look at it. So width, yeah. So we have a little mistake. Save it. And reload. So this is the size we control. It's a little bigger, but it's the same thing. So means you can say when I look for the image, they're supposed to go to some the computer is kind of slow. Means in this case I could, if the HTML couldn't find the online image, it just display this message. This is a message from here, Facebook or YouTube. Here it means say those two images couldn't find, so just display this message. But for Google and Twitter it's fine. And also Google, like say we can connect the image, we're supposed to go to Google, but the link may have some problem, but that is fine. I just use this example. So you know we can align, we can use image, we also can align image if we wrap image into a paragraph. We have learned what means ID. ID means we can assign an ID for a special element so we can control it. But sometimes we want to control a group of elements. In that way, we need to use class. Class means for ID, we only can assign one ID for one element. But we can assign a group of elements for a same class, just like a group. So that means we can control the whole group. We don't need to control separately. So let's say example. Again, we copy it. Post it, and don't forget save it and run it. So let's compare the code with the web page. On the beginning, we have two paragraphs here, two paragraphs. In this two paragraph, we use ID. First paragraph, we use ID blue 32. 32 means the size. This is just a name. You can use any name. And here we use ID green 24. Remember for ID, we need to have a pound sign, right? So we have the pound sign and the blue 32. You can say blue 32. That means okay, just oh yeah, it's saying we get it the Google. So that means here we have a paragraph. We assign an ID blue 32 to this paragraph. And in this CSS, we start with style. We need to use the style if we use embedded. We need to start with the style type equal to text CSS. We need to close it. And inside the style, we can include say, because we want here this paragraph have the ID blue32. Then we use pound sign, means we use ID. Then we can assign the color and the size to this paragraph. So that's where we have blue32. The same thing for pound sign green24. This is the ID for this paragraph. Then for this paragraph, we assign green color and 24 pixel. This is the ID we have lane. Here we have this is a horizontal line. BR means break. We have a line break space. And in this example, we use class. So you can say we have for this paragraph belongs class blue32. Here, remember for ID we use pound sign, but for group we use dot. So P dot means we have a group for paragraphs. So we assign that you can say for ID we only can use once, but for class, those three paragraphs we use the same class, means those three paragraphs belong to this class. So P dot blue32 means this is the class. For this class, those three paragraphs, we use color blue and size 32. You can say those three are the same class, blue32. And the same thing, we use green24 for another class. This class also for paragraph. We use the paragraph, the dot. Actually, you don't need to use the paragraph. You can directly use the dot. But to distinguish, because we can use class or ID for any element. In this example, we use for graphs, but we can use for image, can use for other like a let or name, for like the for list or for table, for other kind of stuff. So if we use the P means paragraph, make the definition clear. So in this green24, this is the class green24. Those three paragraphs belong to green24. Then we assign this class the color is green, size is 24, just here. So this example, how we use ID. Those two are use ID, and those six are use class. We have two classes. This is first classes. For classes, we can repeat, means classes can include multiple elements, but for ID only can refer to one element. That's the important concepts for HTML, class and ID. Make sure you understand those two concepts. That's for this class.